This podcast contains graphic adult language and content that you might be offended by. If you are sensitive to violence, drugs, murder, blood, bad accents, mutilation, or sex, poor story writing, frightening scenes, bad puns, or really just about anything else, then please turn this off right now.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Darling, the only ghoul in the house is you.
The brain is useless. We must find another brain.
Children of the night.
Whoever is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself.
If there's a hall of fame for bad ideas, walking into an abandoned asylum by yourself should come with a trophy shaped like a middle finger. But there I was, standing in front of Brookside Asylum, flashlight in one hand and a budget EMF reader in the other, ready to prove ghosts exist. Or more likely, ready to piss my pants. The place looked like it was designed by someone who really hated happiness. Cracked windows glared down at me, vines twisted up the walls like they were trying to drag the building back into the ground, one hinge away from falling off entirely. It wasn't just haunted, it was fucking angry. Jake and the guys bailed on me last minute, muttering out something about bad vibes or respecting the dead. Cowards. I couldn't let them win. I wasn't going to be the guy they called a pussy for the rest of my life. So I stepped in the door, muttering, "All right, ghosts, Daddy's here, let's fucking do this." The door groaned louder than my neighbor's bed frame at 3 a.m. when I shoved it open. It smelled like a raccoon with diarrhea that ate Taco Bell came inside this building and then exploded and sat there for 3 months, and then 10 more raccoons had the same thing happen to them. That's what it smelled like in this place. The lobby was a wasteland. Shattered glass crunched under my boots, the wallpaper peeled in strips like dead skin, and the ceiling had more holes than my dating history. The air was damp and cold, but not the normal kind of cold. It was the kind that settles in your bones and makes you wonder if you're welcome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't welcome. I held up the EMF reader, its green light flickering weakly. "All right, spirits," I called out, my voice echoing down the halls. "Show me what you got, but no touching, okay? Unless it's consensual. I'm not into that ghost harassment." A faint chill brushed past me, and the EMF reader beeped once. My stomach twisted, but I laughed it off. "Oh, cool. Either you're real, or I just walked into some weird Wi-Fi hotspot. Please don't download ghost porn onto my phone." The farther I walked in, the worse it got. The walls were covered in graffiti, most of it stupid shit like "fart" or "Karen was here." Same thing. One section, though, had "Get Out" scrawled in jagged letters. I stopped, squinting at it. "Real creative, Karen. What's next? Live, laugh, love?" I froze, whipping the flashlight around, but the beam caught nothing but a broken wheelchair tipped over near the wall. "All right, not creepy at all," I muttered, trying to convince myself that it was just the building settling. My feet crunched on the debris-strewn floor as I pressed forward, following the hallway into the heart of the asylum. The temperature dropped with every step. My breath misted in the beam of my flashlight, and the air grew heavier, like the place itself was pushing against me. I told myself it was all in my head, but my hands were shaking, and I couldn't stop glancing over my shoulder. Ahead, a door hung open, the hinges rusted and warped. The EMF reader buzzed faintly in my hand, and I stepped inside. It was a recreation room, or what was left of one. Broken furniture lay scattered across the floor, and a warped piano stood in the corner, its keys cracked and yellowed. The wallpaper was peeling in long strips, revealing crumbling plaster underneath. My flashlight swept over the room, and my chest tightened. In the far corner, something stood. It wasn't moving, but it wasn't still either. My mouth went dry, and my brain scrambled for a response. Hey," I stammered, trying to keep my voice steady. You live here? Rent must be pretty cheap." The figure twitched, and a low, guttural noise filled the room. It wasn't a sound I could place. Not a growl, not a moan, but something in between, like a throat full of gravel and malice. My knees locked, and for a second, I was rooted in place, every instinct screaming at me to move. The air felt wrong, pressing down on me like it was alive, and it wanted me gone. All right, cool. You're, not a fan of jokes? I muttered, backing toward the door. Noted. I'll, just see myself out. The figure jerked forward, and I fucking bolted. My boots slipped on the debris as I sprinted down the hallway, heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst out of my chest. Behind me, something slammed against the floor. Once, twice. The sound chased me like a predator. Okay, I get it, I shouted over my shoulder. You're territorial. I'll leave. Jesus, chill the fuck out. The hallway stretched out in front of me, dark and endless. Every door I passed seemed to groan, the sound vibrating through the walls. The laughter started faint, just a chuckle at first, like whoever was laughing wanted me to know that I wasn't going anywhere. Cool, great, I love this for me, I yelled, skidding around a corner. Really embracing the whole haunted hellhole aesthetic, huh? I stumbled to a stop in front of another open door, gasping for breath. My flashlight flickered again, casting shadows across the floor. The laughter stopped abruptly, replaced by a suffocating silence. A voice whispered behind me, soft but clear. You shouldn't have come here. My flashlight went out completely. Yeah, I whispered back, my hands trembling. Starting to fucking agree. Let me tell you something about bravery. It's a fucking scam. The people who say face your fears have obviously never had a shadowy figure with a throat full of death sounds coming at them. Because when that happens, you don't face shit. You run. Fast. Or in my case, stumble around like a drunk idiot at a haunted house. I bolted down the hallway, flashlight flickering just enough to show me how fucked I was. Every door I passed groaned like it wanted to open and swallow me whole. The walls creaked louder with each step, and the air felt so heavy I thought my lungs were going to collapse. If these ghosts were trying to make me shit myself, mission accomplished. All right, I yelled, my voice bouncing off the cracked walls. You've made your point. You're scary. Congrats. Do you want a trophy or something? Maybe a participation ribbon? Behind me, heavy thuds pounded against the floor. Whatever was back there wasn't just following me, it was chasing me. Fast. Each slam echoed through the hallway like a drumbeat, driving me forward. Cool. So ghosts have gym memberships now, I gasped, trying to keep my legs from giving out. Great. Just great. You're not even the slow, creepy kind. You're the cardio champion murder ghost. Yes, yep, love that for me. I rounded a corner too fast, slipping on a pile of rotting wood and smacked shoulder first into a wall. Pain shot through my arm, but I didn't stop moving. Survival instinct was kicking in, even if I looked like a fucking idiot doing it. A door on my left hung half open, and I dove inside, slamming it shut behind me. The room was pitch black, except for the faint beam of my flashlight trembling in my hands. My heart was pounding so hard that it felt like it might just burst and save the ghosts the trouble of killing me. All right, Travis, I muttered to myself, gulping down the air. Think. You're not dead yet. You're just aggressively haunted. It's fine. You've seen horror movies. Just, avoid closets and mirrors and creepy kids. I swung the flashlight around the room, trying to figure out where the hell I was. It looked like some kind of office, but everything was trashed. Desks overturned, papers scattered, chairs tipped over. The air still stank like those raccoons I mentioned earlier. Before I could catch my breath, the temperature dropped so fast I thought my fucking skin was gonna freeze. My breath misted in front of me, and the beam of the flashlight landed on a woman standing in the corner. She was facing the wall, her long, wet hair hanging in greasy strands that stuck to her face. Her shoulders twitched, like she was crying or laughing. I couldn't tell, and honestly, I didn't want to. Hey, I said, my voice cracking. I didn't mean to interrupt your, corner time. Love what you've done with the place. Very murder-esque. Big fan. She didn't move. My gut screamed at me to get out. But my feet refused to listen. The flashlight shook in my hand as I kept it trained on her. Okay, I'm just gonna go, I said, inching towards the door. No need to get dramatic. You stay here with your wall and your creepy vibes, and I'll just... Her head snapped toward me so fast it made my stomach flip. Her face was pale and sunken, and then she smiled, and her grin looked like something that you'd only see in a dentist's worst nightmare. Jesus Christ, I yelled, stumbling backward onto a desk. She didn't say a word, she just moved, fast, like she was gliding, not walking. Her hand shot out, cold as freezer burn, and clamped down on my arm. Her grip felt like iron, her nails digging into my skin until I could feel the blood trickling down. Okay, lady, I shouted, trying to yank free. We just met. Buy me a fucking drink first. She leaned closer, her breath freezing against my face. You shouldn't have come here, her voice coming out in multiple tones at once. Yeah, no shit, I yelled, panic flooding my chest. Let's maybe ease up on the cryptic stuff and just let me go. The walls groaned like the whole building was alive, and the floor beneath me started to creak ominously. Before I could think of something clever, or even remotely helpful, to do, the floor gave out. I fell through with a crash, landing hard on my back in what felt like a pile of rubble. Pain shot up my spine, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. My flashlight rolled away, its beam casting eerie shadows across the damp, crumbling basement. Somewhere in the darkness, something wet and heavy dragged across the floor. My stomach dropped as the sound got closer. All right, I muttered, scanning the room for my flashlight. This is fine. Totally fine. Nothing says relaxing evening like being stalked by... whatever the fuck that is. The dragging sound stopped abruptly, replaced by a low, guttural snarl that sent chills racing down my spine. I grabbed the flashlight and whipped it toward the noise. The beam landed on a figure hunched on all fours. Its head snapped up, revealing a face stretched taut over a mouth that didn't belong on anything alive. Its teeth jutted out at all kinds of odd angles, slick with what looked like blood, and its lidless eyes locked onto me with hunger. Oh, cool, I muttered, backing away. So ghosts have pet nightmares now. That's neat. That's really neat. It lunged and I barely threw myself out of the way in time. The thing slammed into the rubble, snarling as it twisted around to face me again. Back the fuck off! I shouted, grabbing a chunk of wood and holding it like a makeshift weapon. I will bash your ugly face in. Don't think I won't. It growled, its body twitching as it prepared to pounce again. I swung the wood, missing by a mile, but the movement startled it enough to hesitate. Seizing my chance, I bolted toward what looked like a narrow hallway, the flashlight still bouncing in my hand. Behind me, the snarling grew louder, and the dragging sound started up again, faster this time. Of course you're fast, I yelled over my shoulder. Why wouldn't you be fast? God forbid I catch a fucking break tonight. The hallway opened up into another room, and I skidded to a stop, panting and desperate. My flashlight beam swept over the space, revealing a rickety staircase leading upward. Please, for the love of everything holy, let this lead to an exit, I muttered, sprinting toward the stairs. The snarling grew louder, and I didn't dare look back. I hit the stairs at full speed, nearly tripping on the first step. My legs burned like I'd been running from ghosts for my entire life, which, considering the last 10 minutes, wasn't far from the truth. The snarling behind me got louder, the thing scraping its way through the rubble with the determination of a pissed-off ex looking for their hoodie. Jesus fucking Christ, I yelled, stumbling upward. Do you not understand personal space? You're in my bubble. Can I talk to Ghost HR? The stairs groaned under my weight, threatening to give way, but I didn't stop. I wasn't dying in a haunted murder basement, and I sure as hell wasn't becoming ghost chow for whatever demon-dog hybrid was on my heels. The flashlight bobbed wildly in my hand, casting just enough light to keep me from face-planting into splinters. Could you at least slow down? I shouted over my shoulder, wheezing. I've got asthma, you fucking asshole. At the top of the staircase, a door stood slightly ajar, its edges warped and splintered like someone had taken a crowbar to it. Without slowing down, I slammed into it shoulder first, bursting into a hallway that was somehow even darker than the basement. The air was thick and sour, like the building itself was exhaling something rotten. All right, final stretch, I muttered, sucking in air. Just gotta find a way out. No big deal. Totally doable. Definitely not gonna die horribly. Behind me, the door crashed open with enough force to shake the walls. The thing was coming, faster than I wanted to think about, its guttural growls echoing down the hallway. My flashlight caught glimpses of twisted claws and jagged teeth, and I felt my stomach turn. "Oh, fuck off!" I yelled, sprinting down the corridor. "Why can't you haunt someone who deserves it? Try the Kardashians!" The hallway stretched on forever, each door locked or blocked by debris. The snarling grew louder, and I could feel the vibrations of the thing's pursuit through the floorboards. My brain was screaming at me to run faster, but my body was on the verge of mutiny. "Cool, cardio ghosts," I gasped. "What's next? Haunted CrossFit? Demon spin class?" A light ahead caught my attention, a faint flickering glow coming from a set of double doors at the end of the hallway. Adrenaline took over and I pushed forward, slamming into the doors with everything I had. The room was beyond massive, its walls lined with shattered mirrors and broken furniture. A chandelier dangled precariously from the ceiling, swaying like it was caught in a breeze that didn't exist. In the center of the room stood a figure, its back to me. It was the same one as before. It didn't move, but its presence filled the space like a black hole, pulling everything toward it. My skin prickled. The air felt so cold it hurt to breathe. "All right, I'm just passing through," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "You can keep your creepy-ass ballroom. No need to get grabby." The figure didn't move, it just stood there smiling at me. "Look, I didn't mean to piss you off earlier," I stammered, taking a step back. "But in my defense, your customer service fucking sucks." The thing tilted its head, its grin widening. It didn't speak, but the walls groaned and shifted, and I swear the chandelier dropped a little lower. "Cool, you're into ominous vibes," I said, backing towards the nearest door. "Love that for you. Really great aesthetic, but I'm gonna go." The figure lunged, faster than anything had a right to be. I threw myself to the side, crashing into a broken chair as it slammed into the spot where I'd been standing. Its claws scraped against the floor, sparks flying as it twisted to face me again. "Oh, come on!" I shouted, scrambling to my feet. "Did no one ever teach you manners? So fucking rude." I grabbed the broken chair leg and held it out like a weapon. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. "Back off, Stretch Armstrong. I'm not in the mood for your bullshit." The thing hissed, its grin stretching wider until it looked like its face might split in half. It darted toward me again and I swung the chair leg with everything I had. The makeshift weapon connected with its side, and for a split second the thing recoiled. "Yeah, how's that taste?" I shouted, bolting toward another door. "Bet you didn't think I'd fight back, huh?" The door led to another hallway, this one shorter and brighter. At the far end was a window, its glass cracked but intact. Salvation. Freedom. The fucking light at the end of the tunnel. I sprinted toward it, every muscle in my body screaming. Behind me, the snarling grew louder, closer. I could feel the thing's breath on the back of my neck. "Almost there, you piece of shit," I panted, diving for the window. Without thinking, I grabbed the nearest object, a rusted metal chair, and hurled it at the glass. The window shattered and shards rained down as I threw myself through the opening. I hit the ground hard, rolling onto my side and gasping for air. My arms and legs were covered in cuts, but I didn't care. I was out. "Yeah, you better stay in there," I shouted, flipping the bird. "Fuck you and your haunted-ass house." I dragged myself to my feet and limped toward my car, every step a reminder of how close I'd come to dying. As I climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key, I muttered to myself, "Never again. Fuck ghosts, fuck asylums, and I'm sticking to fucking Netflix." As my car roared to life, I glanced in the rearview mirror. For a second, I thought I saw a dark figure in the back seat, grinning at me. I whipped around, but nothing was there. But as I drove away, I could still hear the faint sound of laughter. I couldn't wait to tell my friends back home what had happened. But as I looked down, I realized I forgot to turn on my GoPro. Fuck. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. It's not all going to be comedy, horror, but I thought that was a fun way to kick off the podcast. It's great to be back doing this again. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. And until next time, have sweet dreams. I love you guys.